Today, we're going to be chronicling our journey through a bizarre universe, which honestly, this might be one of the greatest Roblox JoJo games ever created, but we'll get there in due time. The first thing that I noticed upon spawning in is the game actually told me where to go and gave me something to do, which is better than like 99% of these games. So you know what? We're starting off real strong. I messed with the settings a little bit, and then I couldn't go into shift lock and move my camera around. So, I guess it's time to die. When I respawned, I decided to mess with the settings some more to try to figure out the problem, and, yeah, I can't move my camera again, so, dead. Third time around, I decided maybe messing with the settings and locking my camera so that I can't play isn't a very good idea. So I decided to fight the weak thugs that it wanted me to fight. And here is where I would probably talk about the combat of this game, but I want to wait until I get the rest of my moves and my stand later, so just know for right now, it's very questionable. Regardless, I killed the weak thug, and then he didn't die, for some reason. I had a prompt to carry or kill him, and upon killing him, I beat the shit out of him while he was defenseless on the ground. There's something really ominous about punching the shit out of someone that's desperately trying to crawl away and killing them in a Roblox game. A Roblox game where you walk up and the prompt is kill. We're not fucking around in this game. On the third guy that I knocked to the ground, I figured out that if you press N again right after pressing it, you can cancel the kill animation, meaning that you can continuously beat somebody to death as they plead for their life until eventually you decide to finally land that third punch and put them out of their misery. So far, this game is nothing short of sadistic. I don't know if it's innocently sadistic or sadistic on purpose, but this shit is fucked up. Let's just recap really quickly. You spawn into a new world, you walk up to a random person, and you talk to them, and they said, go kill 4 people. Go knock them out, and then beat them to death while they're on the ground. Jesus Christ. After I killed the 4 people, I got my stand arrow, which I decided to use, and this is where we can start talking about the way stands work in this game, which is that they're completely random. There are no actual stands. Like, you can't get the world, you can't get Star Platinum. It's like that game, I think it was called World of Stands, where it's just totally random, which I'll be perfectly upfront with you right off the bat. Not a fan of that, but regardless of my bias, I got brush silver, and I opened up the stats page, and then I was just confused. There's a bunch of stats, and you get stat points for leveling up and doing quests, but there's no indication of what the stats actually do. I mean, you can assume on stuff like power, but what about development potential? What the hell's that gonna do? What does 1 point into development potential do? I don't have a clue. And later I would figure out some of the things that these stats did, but some of them, they were a mystery all the way up until I was done playing the game. As for moves, those can be obtained by the buy skills menu. And when you buy a skill, it will give you 3 random skills and you can pick one. Problem is, there's no indication of what those skills actually do or their properties. So if you don't know what all the skills do or have a wiki or something, I guess, then that's what you're doing. You're guessing. I just guessed. I just assumed, I hope this is good, and I picked it. And that was kind of the end of it. Now that we've got a stand, we can talk about that combat that I said I would talk about when we got to stands. So here we are. Before I decided to play this game, totally not for the paycheck, I was talking to my live stream chat. By the way, I stream weekdays at 4 p.m. Check out my Twitch. And while I was talking to them about this game, I asked what the combat was like. And everyone who played it could not give me an answer. They were like, you have to watch a video or play it for yourself. There's no possible way I can explain it. And I was like, that can't be right. It's either gonna be a stun simulator or it's just gonna be a YBA clone, because there's not a whole lot of room for innovation here. So it's gonna be one of those two. But I have to apologize to those people because they're 100% right. How in the hell could you possibly explain this combat system? It's like when they were designing it, they wanted the game to play itself, but then halfway through development, they were like, maybe it shouldn't play itself, but they'd already developed some of the AI, but then they were like, maybe the AI shouldn't obey the same rules as the people, and then we got just whatever the hell this is. I don't even know. Your M1s and your barrage attack awkwardly move you forward at a set speed every time you do them, I assume to try to match the amount of knockback that the person is taking, but it just feels like your control is being taken away for like no reason. And the barrage, well, at least against the AI in this game, which I can tell was a bit of an afterthought, sometimes they just don't care, and you'll be mid-barrage and they'll block, which I don't think you're supposed to be able to do. It's the same thing with the M1 combos. Based on how the AI works, it seems like the game was meant to be a stun simulator, but they just didn't program the AI to get stunned sometimes, so they'll just break free and randomly block. Is the combat good? Is the combat bad? I don't even know. I'm leaning towards bad, but like, I legitimately couldn't tell you. It is such an anomaly of game design and such a far departure from anything I've ever played that like I can't put into words how I feel about it. It's extremely whack. That's the best I can do. Anyways, I went outside of a burning building. There was a guy out there. He wanted me to go in and save his coworkers, which introduces us to the pick-up mechanic, which is the other option other than, you know, kill. Funnily enough, the injured coworkers did have a kill option. Although at this point, I guess I hadn't completely gone insane yet, so I didn't even try to press it. That being said, you can pick people up. I don't really know the practical purpose of this other than this one quest, but you can. After the burning building, I was going to my next quest objective and I ran into someone just called Mysterious Man, and they were telling me something about knowledge being power and how I won't get my books back, which I didn't think I had my books taken, but this guy seemed to think that I had them. Seeing as he clearly stole my books that I didn't know he stole, I decided to kill him. I mean, that's just the natural order of things, right? And that brings us to the next quest where this guy that was on the ground outside of a building wanted me to go find a flower and kill 4 bullies. Because that's the answer to bullying. Fucking murder them, obviously. I found this guy in a field nearby and decided, well, he's pretty close to the quest giver. Probably the bully. I punched him and he went down with one punch, so I decided to finish the job, and right as I landed the final hit, he yelled for help and told me to leave him alone. And then he died. My quest didn't update. The game just let me murder a completely innocent civilian. I think I might have to start asking questions as to why they put this singular guy in a field so close to the quest giver. But surely that's gotta be a coincidence. I found another nameless NPC in a field nearby and I figured, well, surely this has to be the bully, right? So I beat him up and I knocked him out, and right as I did, he yelled for help. Well, no witnesses, I guess. I did eventually find the correct place I was going to go, but that only served to confuse me even more, because in between the quest I got and the slightly less innocent civilians that I needed to kill, there's another quest giver. So surely you would assume that that quest giver would send me up here, but nope, it's the one further away. I got nothing. Anyways, I killed them all, I got the flower, no unnecessary casualties required, I promise. After completing the quest, I managed to get my second skill, which was also my last skill, I assume because my stand was garbage, and I went with Darkness Burst, or something like that. It just sounded edgy, so I figured it'd probably be pretty good. And when I got it, it had this little question mark next to the skill, and when you click on that, it actually tells you what your stats do. So you have to get a skill in order to understand what the stats do. Sure, okay, whatever. Our next stop was this old man who told me to go kill a raging Haman user or something like that. My shift lock broke again, so it's time to die. Or is it? On about 2 seconds left, I realized that the reason my shift lock wasn't working was because I had the menu open, but it's too late. Good night, sweet prince. I head back to the same spot, and there's a single enemy just standing right below the quest giver. So I attack him, knock him down, and you gotta be fucking kidding me. Let's just pretend nobody saw that. All right, so it's at this point that I'm pretty much convinced that this game is supposed to be representing you as the villain, and it does its absolute best to paint you as one. Because what other reason would there ever be to put an innocent civilian right below the quest giver to attack a boss? So if the boss isn't there, then you're just realistically gonna murder the civilian. And once you've knocked down the civilian, I mean, you've overcommitted at that point. You have to finish the job. You can't just leave him there. You gotta finish him off. This game's trying to make you into a psychopath. I decided to continue looking for the boss and ended up finding the Haman trainer, who is in eye shot and glowing yellow of the guy who tasked you with killing the boss. He's not the boss. Go figure. That was the point where I basically gave up on the whole boss thing and decided to head over to my next quest. For the next quest, I talked to this construction worker and they said, hey, these construction workers aren't doing their job. Can you help out? And I was like, sure. And I just walked over and I started beating the shit out of construction workers until I took a second to think about it and I realized that these construction workers weren't doing the job. So the immediate reflexive nature of my character is go kill them all. It's not like the guy who asked me to help out told me to kill them. He just said, can you help out? And the game has conditioned me to think help out means brutally murder. I'm effectively a union buster. I came in here, they weren't doing a good enough job, and I beat them all to death. Listen, if you can get to this point in the game and not think that something is seriously wrong, I don't even know what to tell you. After killing all the construction workers, including this one construction worker who may or may not have been a civilian, but at this point, I think I've been trained that if it moves, you kill it, and moved on to my next quest, which was the tipping point in this whole thing. The nail in the coffin for A Bizarre Universe. A completely indefensible quest that proves that the developers of this game are all psychopaths. There's no other way to slice it. I walked up to this edgy guy leaning against a pillar. I talked to him for his quest, and it said, kill the hobos. That's it. There's no beating around the bush here. The game developers are telling you that if you are homeless, you deserve death. You cannot survive. You should be killed. Kill the hobos. The quest name is Hobo Massacre. They want you to kill 8 homeless people in cold blood. What did they do? They're just standing around the docks and you go over and you murder all of them. This has got to be some sort of sick subliminal messaging bullshit. I don't even know. How many Roblox games can you think of where the game explicitly tells you, go murder 8 homeless people and we'll reward you? That's so many levels of fucked up. That is an endless amount of levels of fucked up. How is this even what? You were probably wondering at the beginning of the video, Eclipse, how the hell are you saying this piece of garbage video game is one of the best JoJo games out there? And this is why. They're unapologetically them. They say, if you're homeless, you should die. No other way around it. You don't deserve to live. And you know, that might be one of the worst takes that I've ever heard, but at least they're honest with themselves. How many Roblox games can you go around and murder 8 homeless people? Probably not very many. But this one, you can. Holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with the people who made this game? But really, if you've watched this far into the video, that's the whole game. And if we're gonna drop the nonsense here, obviously this is not one of the best JoJo games out there. It's one of the worst. It's a complete pile of garbage, and I have no idea why anybody asked me to play it. Let me rephrase that. I know exactly why people asked me to play it, and it's because they wanted me to tear it to shreds. So, if you were looking for me to tear it to shreds, I suppose here we go. Uncontrollable RNG sucks. I will always be an advocate of trying to minimize uncontrollable RNG. This entire game is uncontrollable RNG, so I myself am already not going to like it from the get-go. But the thing about a bizarre universe is it feels like this whole game is like a mixture of 7 different games built by 7 different people, and they just didn't know what game they actually wanted to be creating. So they just made a hodgepodge and then threw it all together, and then we got what we have here. Like, I barely even know how to describe it other than saying that, because if you haven't played it, it's kind of hard to tell what I mean. But it doesn't really feel like anything from the current, like, set-in-stone genre for JoJo games, but it's still a JoJo game. It feels like it was supposed to be almost like a generic anime game, but then they shifted course at the last second. They have that weird kill carry mechanic, which feels like it doesn't belong at all in the current game, but might belong in a completely different game, just not this one. The AI is a complete dumpster fire and barely functions half the time. The combat system, I don't even know what it is. I couldn't tell you. The people from my stream were right. The combat system makes absolutely no sense at all. It's like the game is trying to play itself, but it's not. And then the gameplay loop is, it's doing those same quests over and over and over again. The way that the whole thing works out is that around the map, there's a set amount of quests. And once you've done them all, after a certain amount of time has passed, they'll all reset and you can do them all again. So if your idea of a good time is running in circles and then waiting 15 minutes for a quest reset and then running in circles again, all the while fighting some of the most worthless and frustrating AI that magically is able to block in the middle of your barrage possible, then this game is for you. Feel free, hop in there, have a good time. But for literally everybody else, I would steer far, far away from this game. Do not play this. With that though, I think I'm wrapping up here. I don't know how these games always seem to get like 1,000+ players. They're always horrible. But hey, I'll probably make money off of this video, so I guess it was worth it. Gotta capitalize on the trend while it's here, right? If you enjoyed this video and you want me to go tear apart more bad games, then feel free to let me know in the comments, leave a like and subscribe. If you don't want me to do that, then don't do those things and leave a comment and ask me to do something else. And with that, I'm done. So have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time.